Hello folks, welcome back to Sew Modify Sarah, or welcome if you're new. My name is Jess, this is my channel all about sewing, dressmaking and all the things stitch related, and today I am bringing you a vlog I've actually wanted to make for ages, and it's all about wedding guest dresses that won't make you look like a bridesmaid. If you're like me and whenever you go to a wedding you really worry that you don't want to end up basically looking like a bridesmaid by accident because everyone hates that person. So I've developed a little playbook of patterns, of techniques, of tips, and I want to share those with you, so hopefully you enjoy. So I have actually split these into 3 different sections. So you've got 10 patterns overall, 4 in the first 2 and then 2 at the end. So first of all, we're going to do sort of slouchy with sleeves because the vast majority of bridesmaids dresses do not have sleeves. So that helps, definitely. Depending on the smartness of the wedding, you might have a nice sort of summery garden party vibe, but equally you might have more of a formal black tie wedding, and you've got to be prepared for either. So the 4 patterns in this section are: number 1, the Vicky Sews Manuela, which is on my list. Lovely, slouchy, kind of Art Deco detailing. And because of the sleeves, because of the wrap, and because it's a little bit lower as well, not really a traditional bridesmaid vibe. And I'll put up the line drawings as well because I know that was requested last time I did this. Great pattern, really interesting, lovely little details, and just doesn't really give a bridesmaidy vibe. It's a little bit more slinky and fun. Second is the Cashmere Rose Claire. Again, we've got lots of sleeve options, lots of length options here, but on the whole, bridesmaids dresses don't tend to be wrap dresses, especially like sleeved ones. So I had wrap dresses for my bridesmaids, and they were like sleeveless, long column velvet dresses, but I didn't see many similar dresses out there. I think because wrap dresses are harder to buy for a larger selection of body types. But the Cashmere Rose Claire is a really nice one, and if you make it a little shorter, again, it doesn't look bridesmaidy, but it's a lovely pattern, and crucially, really size inclusive and loads of different bust options. So it's a great wrap dress if you are slightly larger in the boob, and maybe don't want to feel like you're falling out. So I definitely recommend that. Really good amount of coverage, lovely shape, great sleeve options, and you can make it in a range of fabrics as well to make it smart or make it more casual. One that I've actually worn to a range of family events is the Closet Core Elodie. So the Elodie is again, it's another wrap dress, but it's got this sort of sleeve, what are they called? I suppose a grown-on sleeve. And it sort of slouches over. It's really swoosh, very long and lovely. But again, it's a slightly less traditional silhouette. And it's great if it's a hot wedding and you're going to be sat outside because there's a good amount of coverage. It's good for a dancey wedding because it floats. And it's because it's a true wrap dress, it's really well secured, I think, because the ties actually go through the side and you can like properly tie yourself in, and you also have the option on the inside to maybe hide some poppers, hide some extra bits, just to make sure you feel really secure. And the final option on here is the Style Arc Belle. Now this is not a pattern I've made, but it's a pattern I've admired many other people in, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's the least bridesmaidy thing in the world because it just isn't. Like, I can't imagine, you know, it's too short, the sleeves are there, it's got the lovely buttons down the middle, that kind of slightly corsetry feeling. It's so pretty, and I think it would make such a good wedding guest dress, particularly if you made it in like a ditzy floral print in the summer, or if you were for the winter, maybe like a patterned satin or like a viscose challis, something like that. I think you could make something really beautiful. Okay, I've titled this section Simple Patterns with Elevated Fabrics. What I often do for a wedding guest dress is that I don't want to be stressed by whatever I'm making. I don't have time for that. I've done it once and it was hellish and I'm not doing it again. So I always use a pattern I know, but I often use a pattern that is maybe traditionally a little bit more of a summer dress, and I try and elevate it. So I'm going to start actually in reverse order from my list and talk about the True Bias Darla, which I have made one of for my Adam's cousin, my cousin-in-law's wedding this weekend. It is in this lovely brocade. It's like midi length. I'm just about to put the invisible zip in. This is a really simple summer dress pattern, but in brocade it suddenly looks like a princess dress. And this is the second thing I want to talk about: unusual fabrics and patterned fabrics. They really make sure your outfit looks beautiful and suits the smartness of the occasion, but again, it really stops that fear of looking like a bridesmaid. I know the bridesmaids will not be wearing brocade. I think that's highly unlikely, and do you know what? If they do, it's not on you. But the doll is really lovely and easy. It's got an interesting tie back I haven't used. It also has just a classic invisible zip back, which looks really pretty. And I am going to pop that in straight after this vlog so I can take it with us this weekend. It's got darts here and here, quite a high top, and then it just goes down. And in a structured fabric, brilliant, because no one will be able to see if I bloat in this dress. It just won't be possible. Similarly, I had great success with the Friday Pattern Company Saltwater Slip. I made that in a cotton sateen in a riot of colours, which will be on screen. It's got multiple cup sizes, it's an inclusive pattern, and I think the long version works really, really well as a wedding guest dress. I added ties to mine at the back just to like nip it in slightly. But I used a really bright cotton sateen. It was for my sister-in-law's wedding, and I felt really comfortable. I could dance all night because it is a summer dress. It's designed to be comfortable. While we are on this note, summer dresses, Tammy handmade Rhea. Now, beautiful summer dress, brilliant in cottons, also brilliant in satin. So I made this one in it was a satin blend. I want to say like a viscose satin. It was crazy. It's like so, it's got a bit of weight to it. It was lovely to work with. And I actually made the top straps tie because it felt a little bit more, fun. But again, an example of an incredibly simple dress. Great to dance in. I did a full Kaylee in it all evening, in heels as well. I put some ties in the back again, just because again, it felt like it was nice to have the option to have a little bit more of a waist or less of one, depending how I was feeling. But I really liked that it was still loose, I could still breathe, I wasn't uncomfortable. And because it was a midi dress, again, you don't get mistaken for part of the bridal party. And again, some of those summer dress details, when you make them in more exciting fabrics, they can really start to look very elegant, and I think that's really beautiful and quite fun to explore. The final one on the list, because we're sort of going simple, is now let me get this right, it's the Sicily slip dress, sewing Mason. The Sicily slip dress is great. I know people have used it for their wedding dresses. I know people have used it for the bridesmaids dresses. So if you're going to make the Sicily, I strongly recommend a patterned fabric. It is already an evening wear dress. It's very beautiful. To make it wedding appropriate, make it full length or close to, or a midi dress, midi or full length, nothing shorter, because it's not gonna maybe be appropriate. You know the character of the wedding, but that would be my general recommendation. And yeah, something patterned, a patterned cotton sateen, a patterned viscose challis, a patterned satin, a patterned silk. Just, that is the highest risk one, I think, on this list. Okay, 2 unconventional options for you, so that you're not like, why are there only dresses on here? I have for you, well, I have one dress and one jumpsuit, but they're very different. So if you are going to a wedding and maybe there's loads of dancing, maybe you don't like having all your skin out, maybe you want something more modest, maybe it's a winter wedding and you want to be warm, all okay options. Let me present to you the Trend Patterns raglan dress on screen. I love this, and actually I'm really considering making a full length one, or close to, because it's got that slightly open back, which is lovely. It's got the beautiful tie around the neck, and then it covers all of this, big flounce sleeves. It would look so beautiful in like a floral viscose. It would look so pretty, but you could also make an insane one in like a silk, like a plain red silk or something like that. I think you could get away with plain because of the detailing of the outfit. It's not bridesmaidy at all. But it's also a nicer option as well if you just don't want to have loads of skin out. You could belt it if you wanted to, or you could just leave it loose and sort of float around the reception with fabulous shoes on. That's also a possibility. Strongly recommend. Nice, slightly off the wall option. You may not think of it at first glance, but I think it would look so beautiful, so please go and explore. The other option is the Nina Lee Carmel. It's a jumpsuit. It has pockets. You can make it as a dress as well, but it's a jumpsuit, it has pockets. It stops basically Empire line here, and then it's loose all the way down, so brilliant if you bloat, if you just don't want anything clinging to your body. It moves like a dress when you swish around. You could definitely make it in other fabrics. I have one actually. I made in silver lame. Let's see if I can get a photo of that up. which is fabulous, and I love it. And you could make it equally in like a you could make it in like a velvet. That would be so cool. You could make it in like a velvet or like a starred velvet or something. You could make it in an embroidered fabric. You could make it in, sorry if you see me itching by the way, I went for a very long run and all of the nettles were so tall they were like over my head. And by the time I was there, I couldn't really go back. So I've just got some nettle stings all over me, which are very uncomfortable. I'm trying not to itch, but it's hard. So the Nina Lee Caramel, it's got pockets, it zips at the back, it's really easy to get in and out of. There's no compression of your stomach at all. And I went on a hen do in mine and I just felt so comfortable the whole time. So my general top tips, think of patterns you love, but use like a more exciting fabric or a more difficult fabric. I strongly discourage trying to make a pattern you've never made before you go to a wedding, because the stress is unbelievable and you don't know if it's going to fit you the way you want it to. So either practice it well in advance or just use a pattern you already like and choose a more interesting fabric. If you're worried about looking like a bridesmaid, wear a pattern. Bridesmaids' dresses are almost never patterned. It's not a thing. So if you're really worried, you don't say for example, you're going to a wedding and it's your partner's family and you've never met any of them before, and the worst case scenario is you rock up and you accidentally look like a bridesmaid. Absolute like worst case. So make sure you wear something with a pattern. I would also consider midi dresses. Bridesmaids' dresses are usually full length. On the whole, I know people don't, but the majority of the ones you see in the shops are full length because it's more uniform across people of different heights. So a midi dress is always quite safe. Brighter colours, again, bridesmaid trends are often quite pastel, so that they don't sort of draw too much focus in photos. So when I go to weddings, I tend to wear like a bright jewel colour, because I know firstly I like them, that's what I feel comfortable in, but also that it's just really unlikely. And my final tip, if you're really stressing about it, go have a look in the shops, go look online and see what this year's, or even on Pinterest, look at what this year's and last year's bridal trends are. And if in doubt, just stay away from whatever you see. Now, I'm sure this is something some of you have never even thought to worry about. But equally, I know that there are also hundreds of you, if not thousands of you, because there's quite a few of you here now, who do think about this. I know I do. It's not that I'm like, oh, desperate to be sort of noticed in my outfit. I'm just horrified to be that person who's like, it looks like you're trying to be part of the bridal party if you're not. If you just want to make sure you go to a wedding and you feel confident, because even though it's not your day, you're there to turn up, have fun, celebrate other people, but you are going to be photographed, and weddings are a lovely place to get up-to-date family photographs or photographs of friend groups, and you want to feel your best, you want to feel yourself. So if you're worried, if you're stressed, if like me, you really want like a vibe check, I wish everybody published a vibe. It's what we used to call a dress code, but people don't do dress codes anymore, or they don't know what dress codes mean. Whole other vlog I will do on this topic, because I love dress codes, but only when correctly applied. But a vibe would be really helpful if you're planning your wedding. Give your friends a vibe, let them know. But hopefully this has been a useful insight, or at the very least, hopefully you've seen some patterns you haven't seen before and want to give a go. Or maybe I've encouraged you to just try one of the patterns you love in a fancier fabric and see how you get on. I will absolutely share photos of the Dala when I am done. It's come out really nicely actually. I just need to, I've got some binding that I'm going to bind the inside of the zip, because this fabric frays like, oh my god, it frays so badly. And I'm going to fling that zip in tonight and just get it done. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope it was useful. Let me know in the comments if you think I've missed any great patterns. And pop your ideas as well, and let me know, am I the only person who thinks about this? But until then, I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!